Hello, YouTube. It is a beautifully scenic view out here at Port Canaveral. Some people are already out here fishing. Look how calm that water is. That water is actually from the inlet coming in from the ocean towards the river. Yeah, very calm this morning. The winds haven't started up yet. The other day we were at this park, which I think is called Ketchum Park, out at Port Canaveral, and I had come here and shown you the area and the bathroom facilities. Might be a van dweller right there. We're gonna go to the Canaveral locks today and take a look. I don't know if they're gonna have it open or not. This is a drawbridge that was featured the other day, and you can see you can go fishing underneath the drawbridge and alongside. People are already up here in the morning. The SUV that just went by us was the Port Authority. They are like the police, but just patrol this area here. They don't seem to be hassling people. Just patrolling and making sure nobody's got problems. And now we're going to go to the port side, not the port, the lock side. They used to have it open. I don't know if it's open today or not, but we're going to try to go there. I also wanted to point out several other spots that are worth seeking out if you're in this area and you kind of need a place to park for the day. I don't know about parking all night. The Port Authority may come after you, or they might just ignore you. But there's potential spots here where you can chill for the day, right up by the water. The roads, they go along the edge of the river, and there are spots where you could pull off. So the road we see to the left over here on this side right there, that is 528, State Road 528, the one that you come down from Orlando and I-95 and stuff to cut over to the port side. So we're on the other side of the fence, and the only way to get here is you have to take 528 and take the exit for the Port Canaveral cruise terminals, and then from there you come this way. But if you Google like Ketchum Park, I think it's Ketcham or something like that, it should take you here. I don't know if that's local or just one of the workers. You can see the side here has some pullovers. People here with their dogs, people here fishing. You probably come here in your van or RV and park. Yeah, the locks is locked, so we won't be able to go in. But this is the Port Canaveral locks right here. We're gonna try to peek through the fence. There's some cyclists here. I don't know if they open at a certain time or if they just have it locked because of COVID. I think it says Jacksonville District, but I don't know if it's national. Because the locks are kind of important. But let me I have a battery charging here using the alternator, but I'm going to flip the other one up. Let the solar charge it from now on as the sun is coming out. But basically, yeah, I don't know if it's closed, no public access. So they have blocked people out. That sign is new. U.S. government properties. Used to not be here, that no public access sign, and you are allowed to actually go back there. This is the Canaveral locks. This is a new sign. You can see even the metal wrapping, the sign itself is brand new, so they no longer allow the public back there. But that's where the locks are. It's basically a series of containers where they level up the water. Like if the water in the ocean is higher, then it goes into the locks and it lowers the boat down. They pump the water in or out of the locks, and then they match it to this side, which is the river. This is I think this side is the Banana River. like that, because there's two rivers here, Banana River, and then on the other side is the Indian River. So that little strip of land that you see there, that's actually Merritt Island. So this is the Banana River. So the waters come in from the Atlantic Ocean, get pumped up or down depending on which way the tide is, you know, the height of the water. And that's how the ships go in and out of the river. You always wonder how, like, the big huge ships, they get out to the ocean. I know some of you don't wonder that, but if you live around here and you see the people with the nice fancy houses with the sailboats, you can't just sail straight out unless you're in certain areas where the water doesn't, you know, the height or the level of the water isn't too different. Basically, what is it, Ballard Park, you can go in and out without locks, but the water there doesn't really go into a river. I think it flows up its own little area. It doesn't connect to the Indian and the Banana River. So when you have like a big huge river and the water doesn't match, they have to put in the locks. Otherwise, you know how water will flow downhill? It'll flow one way. That means that the water is one way, one direction. And you couldn't go up against the water because it would flow so fast. So they put the locks in for that. Sadly, we couldn't actually go check out the locks itself. You can see some bicyclists I'm meeting here. I guess people go on their little bike rides. We are going to take a little ride. Because I'm planning on a ride, I was planning on just showing you guys the locks quickly, but we'll go ahead and just ride around just to look at what things look like today on this Sunday morning. And I think I'm going to go ahead and charge. I think I'm going to go ahead and charge my phone off. Not my phone, my battery system off the alternator again. You know, the battery, I have basically, for those of you wondering about configuration, I have roughly 200 amp hours of battery storage usage here, house battery storage in little blue off RV batteries. And out of the 200 amp hours, about 100 is usable because, you know, you really shouldn't drain it to more than half. So 100 is usable. And that means I have 100 amp hours of usable power each night. That's quite a lot of power. So I have 3 fans that I run all night. The fans use 0.8 amps, but you could round it off to like 1 amp to make it easier. But that means for every hour, each fan will use 1 amp. But I run 3 of them, so every hour I use 3 amps. That means if I run my fans for 10 hours straight, that's only 30 amps. So my power system is more than adequate to run 3 fans all night. I don't know if you saw the side there, I didn't point it out, but that's where all the pullovers are that you could pull over and park alongside the water if you're wanting to hang out in this area, like you happen to be visiting Port Canaveral, and you just want to pull over, not on the causeway itself, which you can always do. The causeways, that's the what we call the bridges that connect the mainland to the islands, as well as to the ocean side. There's also the islands in this area. You got the first island you encounter is called Merritt Island, and it's a huge island. You couldn't even tell you were on an island unless you saw from overhead and stuff that it is just a big, huge island. And then on the other side of the huge island is what we call the barrier islands. Florida has a whole series of barrier islands on the east and the west coast. What they are is like a strip of land right off the mainland of Florida. And what they do is kind of block the ocean a little bit from the mainland. And, the concern they always have around here is when there's a huge hurricane, that the barrier islands could end up completely disappeared, because of tidal waves and stuff like that. It could wash away the barrier islands, which parts of it have washed away, and then they restore it. But people build houses and stuff on there. The barrier islands is like sometimes only like a mile or so or less wide. That's how thin they are. But they have houses and stuff on them. So you can see people are fishing out enjoying. This is all free, by the way, free access. Although I think Florida has a requirement to have fishing license, which you can go online and get. You can also get the fishing license from Walmart. Now, the fishing that they're doing here, I think it's still considered shore. So Florida, if you're a Florida resident, they give you that license for free. But you got to have a license. So you go to Walmart and tell them you'd like a fishing license. I ask you what kind. You got salt water, you got seawater, you got brackish water, whatever. But basically, if you're fishing in off the ocean like this, on the edge or on a river, you can get a free license in Florida unless they've changed it. You have to be 16 or older to get a license. If you're under 16, I think they give you a license. You don't need a license, or they give it to you for free. I don't know. I think you don't need a license if you're under 16. My understanding, I'm not 100% sure, if you're on food stamps. If you're on food stamps, I don't think you need a license because you're fishing for food. What else? But I think if you're fishing for food, you can only use a pole, fishing pole. You can't use a rod and a reel. I think that's how it works. I was told that by a friend. I'm not 100% sure. I know I always had to get a license. And if you plan on fishing in the lakes and stuff like that, the freshwater lakes, you have to have a license. It's like a different license. You got to have a freshwater lake license. And if you're going to fish in the ocean, but you're not going to be on the shore, you're going to be offshore, like on a boat, one of those fishing boats or something, you have to have a license. So check out the, the Florida Wildlife Game and Management website. They should have that information. And if you're like just passing through, I think they sell them by the day or by the week. So you don't have to get it for the whole year, It gets expensive if you're always traveling and fishing and having to pay at all these states, but that's what you got to do if you want to stay legal and want to have the cops give you a hard time. They do check, by the way, just so you know. When I was out fishing before, they would actually come up. Sometimes the sheriff's department and sometimes the wildlife game management people would come up. They come up and they basically ask to see your fishing license. And then if you don't have it, well, you're in trouble. It's going to be a fine. So have that license. And like I said, if you're a Florida resident, it's free. If you wanted to fish, off the brackish water or whatever, I think it even applies at fishing off the pier. Let's take a little cruise here. This is the new tower thing that they built to try to attract people to Port Canaveral. So it's really fancy. It's got like an observation area. You can see the whole area here. This is the old side with the old ports and stuff. Used to have a casino boat here called the Sun Cruise, which was a nice little boat that you could go out as a day trip. You can see all these loading and unloading cranes that they have out here for the ships. Dock is normally, the port is normally a lot more busy than it is right now, but with COVID, I think everything's on lockdown, including even like shipping, I guess they shipped some items, but not as much as before. So this area used to be a lot busier, but like you can see, it's kind of quiet right now. And they had started to build up restaurants and stuff. So those of you who like seafood, there's a little tour boat or something called the Orlando Princess. Out here. You see a little, I think that's probably a fishing boat that they take out, one of those little party boats. Hey Lena, good to see you on here. But yeah, this is they a bunch of little restaurants and stuff out here. I used to host an event called the Florida Photo Days, and we would do like photography and stuff, and Rusty's right here, which is like an icon area here, it was one of our sponsors. But they have really good food here, seafood. I don't know if they get them from like some of these fishermen and stuff that bring the fish in, because some of the people bring the fish here and I guess they process it and then ship it out and sell it. Island Kitchen and Rum Bar, Jung Canoe, with a giant little chair you could take a picture in. This blue building here used to be This says the Cove parking. I wonder if that's the Cove right there. Let's take a look. This used to be the Sun Cruise terminal for the gambling boat. At one time we had 2 gambling boats here. We had Sterling Casino and Sun Cruise. So this is, was it entrance to, I can't even read the name of the place. It's some kind of restaurant now. See all the parking here? Fish Lips. This is Fish Lips now, which is a restaurant. They've been trying to make the Port Canaveral port area here a lot more, I guess, touristy. So they've been putting up all these fancy buildings and trying to do, you know, make things look nice. They try to bring people, because we're located right at the end of 528, which used to be called the B line, but they renamed it the Beach line. And 528 runs up to Orlando, right by the Orlando airport, you know, international airport. So people typically, when they come to Florida, you know, they go to Orlando, you know, tourists. They go to Orlando for Disney and stuff. More restaurants here. Grills and... See, it says, Seafood Atlantic, support American fishermen, buy local seafood. So I suppose you could come here if you're local and actually buy fish from the fishermen as they bring them in the haul of the day. I think a lot of restaurants do that. Like, they come and they buy the fish directly from the fishermen. So we're just going to cruise a little bit down some more. You can see more restaurants. Rising Tide Tap and Table. So all of the restaurants being built around here. Still a lot of empty land. They were trying to get it developed. This is the cruise. Well, this is Grill's seafood deck, and apparently they have storage for the boats. If you ever wonder how they store boats, they literally put them onto. They lift them up and put them into little storage slots. They bring them back down and put them in the water when you're ready to go out. It's kind of interesting that they do that, but they do. They lift the boats up and store them. So it's Port Canaveral. Welcome to Canaveral Cove. So this section is called Canaveral Cove, and we're going to continue on. That big thing right there is like the big cruise terminals here. This is where the big, huge cruises leave from Port Canaveral and travel the world. But obviously, right now, the ships are not in dock. Oh man, I see the bicyclists all riding behind me. But from what I saw, like on Facebook, they have all the ships parked out in the ocean right now. So all those cruise ships that used to be ported here and other places, Miami and stuff, they're all like parked off the ocean, not bundled, but parked by each other. And sadly, the crew members are still on there. They won't let the crew members off. Talk about messed up situation. I heard that they have like over, I don't know if it's like over 100,000. I think there's like over 100,000 crew members on the various cruise ships out in the ocean right now. And they have not been allowed to get on shore unless they're dead from COVID. So they had to be quarantined, and no country would take them. So they're just sitting out there on the boat, on the ships, and they run food supplies and stuff to those people, and then they bring the people out that are dead. So the people on there are just sitting there waiting to die right now. And I heard that a lot of them, you know, some of those people, they're actually committing suicide. That's how messed up it is. You got to feel for those people, you know. They haven't seen their family in, what, 7 months, 8 months or more, and they're stuck. And meanwhile, you know, they're watching their coworkers getting sick and dying. I don't know what the amenities are that they're allowed to use. I don't know if they have full reign of the whole ship and are allowed to use it. I doubt it. You know, knowing how corporations and stuff treat their workers, I think those cruise ship people are not treated nicely. They're probably confined to the crew area. I don't know. I'm just making this up because I don't know. I just know how people tend to behave. And they tend not to treat the workers very nicely in positions like that. So we're just basically cruising through. You can see on the side here are where, you know, shipments and stuff come in. I don't know what's in those. That look like wood or something. We're going here to the cruise terminal because I'm going to loop back here in a minute. We're kind of at the end. So this is the Victory Casino, which is the newest casino thing that they have here. I don't know if they're sailing. So I guess in a way for me, this is to find out if they're sailing. I don't know if I'd want to go sailing right now. Florida is like a hot spot right now for Corvid. But there's the ship right there. It is, they call it a boat, but it's kind of a ship. And it's sitting there. It's a decent sized ship. It's like a yacht. I think it'll hold up to like 500 people. 3 to 500, I think 500. So I'm looking here and I do see some of the people are working. There's staff here. Obviously no one in the parking lot. I don't know what time it is. Probably like 9 or close to 9. Usually when they sail at like I think 10 or 11 a.m. So I'd have to look them up to see if they're actually open or not. They charge you for VIP parking here. This is VIP parking. But we're just cruising around. And I guess they're building a whole new terminal here. From what I saw previously, they were planning on building like a hotel and all the fancy add-ons. Because I guess the casino business was doing well. But now, I don't know if all that's on hold. If all that's gone away. Everything's kind of deserted, you know. But this is the loading ramp for the Victory Casino cruises. And evidently people are still working. I see people in uniform, so they are working. I just don't know if they're sailing. Maybe I'll look that up and see if they are sailing. I know they had opened Las Vegas back up, and supposedly the numbers are going back up there too, you know, once they open the casinos and the hotels back up. So I'm not sure what the status is. I'll have to look it up to see what's going on in Las Vegas. But if you've ever been out to Las Vegas, the city where the tourists are, it's like a mega city. And for them to have shut it down, I don't even know how that was possible. But they apparently shut down Las Vegas. That's not like a... If you compare like Las Vegas to Orlando, Las Vegas is like probably at least 10 or 20 times larger than Orlando. And they didn't shut down Orlando. They couldn't shut down Orlando. So I don't know if they just shut down the hotels and the casinos, but kind of left everything else open. But all the businesses there in Las Vegas were for the tourists. You know, they were gift shops, casinos, basically, and hotels. So we're just cruising down one of the side roads here. Welcome to the city of Cape Canaveral. This is where Jeannie and do you remember Major what's his name, Nelson and Roger Healy? They lived around here somewhere. So maybe we'll come upon their house. But this is the city of Cape Canaveral. This is where Major Healy and Major Nelson lived. That was a cop right there. I'm surprised he didn't pull me over for holding his camera. I think I'm gonna put it here and put it on the dash in case a cop shows up again. Says, hey, you're activating a phone while you're driving. You know, it's illegal right now to be on a cell phone and talking using the cell phone while driving here in Florida. But I don't know if it's illegal to be driving with the camera. I'm not using the cell phone as a cell phone. I'm using it as a camera. So there's a technical bit there. You know, if the cop shows up and say, I'm filming. Black Lives Matter. Don't start beating me. But anyhow, yeah, you know. So having it up here like on the dash like this, I think they'll leave me alone. But carrying it in my hand, he might give me a hard time. So this is what it looks like in Cape Canaveral. For those of you, oh look, here's a peacock. I'm gonna have to take this off to show you here. There is indeed a peacock right here. Some peacocks. I don't know if it's picking it up or not, but these are wild peacocks. Yeah, they don't look wild, but peacocks roam this area. I used to do mail here. They would sometimes send me to deliver mail at Port Canaveral. There's another one up the road, but they make the nastiest sound. I don't know. I don't hear them right now, but whenever you hear a peacock for the first time, you say, "What the hell is that?" Sounds like banshees. But the peacocks just roam the streets around here. I know you guys find that amazing, those of you who aren't used to it, but Florida, well, you know, with the animals, they just roam the street. And I used to come here in my mail truck and deliver, and it would, you know, sometimes I get a little braking spot. But yeah, this is what a peacock looks like. It's a beautiful bird. And the male ones tend to be the pretty ones. I don't hear any of them screaming right now. But when they scream, it's like banshees. They make this really, I can't even do the sound, but it's a horrendous screaming sound. It sounds like a banshee that's being ripped apart. That's what it sounds like. And they just literally walk around Merritt Island. I haven't really seen them elsewhere other than Merritt Island. But yeah, basically, this is in Port Canaveral. They have them here. They also have them in Melbourne. You know, Melbourne, let me see if it's West Melbourne. No, it's just, is it West Melbourne? It's West Melbourne. I would see them on my mail route, so I kind of know where all the, some of the wildlife hang out, like where the peacocks hang out. I know where they hang out because I drive by there delivering mail. I also know where the manatees hang out, and where the turtles hang out, and where the alligators hang out. And also the sandhill cranes. So one of the benefits of being a mailman is you get to really know your area. Like, I know where all the rich areas are, all the poor areas are. I know basically almost all the roads. You also get to see like gated communities where they lock the gates and you have that access code. You can get in with an access code, or they have a master key. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Maybe I shouldn't tell. Maybe I won't tell, because it could put mailman lives in danger. I guess most of the bad people know, so maybe I'll tell you anyways. Most bad people already know. That's why they attack mailmen. But mailmen are highly trusted, you know, because people see the mail truck. And if you're in your mail uniform, that's protected equipment, because when you have access to the mail uniform and the mail truck, they let you in anywhere. You can get in. All you have to do is just show up, and they will let you in because you're the mailman. But then you get to like gated communities and stuff. You know the passcode, which, you know, if it's on your route, you know that passcode. Or you have a key. There's a special key that the mailman has that can open. Hey, look at that peacock on the roof. You see that one up on somebody's rooftop? He's just, there you go. It's having a hard time focusing, but that peacock is just sitting on someone's roof. Cat right there. The enemy of the peacock, he's checking me out. He's like, why is that car looking here? That car doesn't belong here. But unlike a dog, he's not charging me. Dog would charge me right now. But that cat may have a thing with that peacock. But that peacock just, apparently they can fly. Because he's up on the roof. And if we heard them screaming, I wish to get it on recording where you could hear them screaming, because once you hear that, look at this, here's another one. I think this one may be male. It doesn't look as pretty. It looks kind of dull looking. See the peacock here? I mean, not male, female. It may be female. I'm getting them backwards. Typically, with wild animals, the male looks real pretty. It's weird, you know. It's like, it's opposite of humans. In the wilds, oh, look, a flamingo, a pink flamingo. Have you guys ever seen a Florida pink flamingo? Here's one. An actual Florida pink flamingo in somebody's yard. You see him? That's what a Florida pink flamingo looks like. They don't really move too much. But yeah, in Florida, you'll find these pink flamingos in some yards. So, but typically, most wild animals, the male looks all pretty and fancy and stuff because it's got to attract the females. But the females look really dull, look kind of boring. But it's like the opposite for humans. Humans, the females deck themselves out and wear high heels and all this stuff to try to attract men, the males. And I don't know if you saw there's a little peacock just taking another little stroll here through the neighborhood. I don't even think they're protected. I don't know if they're protected or not in Florida, if if they're protected. I don't really see people attacking them, so maybe they are protected because, people attack everything. But then again, they don't always attack the alligators either. And we'll let this guy go in his little cart. He's the same one we saw earlier. I thought he was a worker, but I don't think so. I think he's a local patriot with the American flag there. But he was out at the port when we first started our trip. Remember our little journey when we were heading out? I don't know if you saw him, if I filmed him or not. But he was riding around in that little cart. We are now in a city called Cape Canaveral. Yeah, it looks like he's cruising. I don't know if he's heading home. Guy on a trike. He's like an amputee, or he's got problems with the legs, but the trike helps him to get around. I still have not seen Major Nelson's house, but I know he's around here somewhere. Of course, he might be what? How old is Major Nelson at this point? Let's do the math. Okay, I Dream of Jeannie was like, what, in the 70s? And he was probably, let's say, 30 years old at the time. So 80s, he would be 40. 90s, he'd be 50. 2000, he'd be 60. 2010, he'd be 70. 2020, he'd be 80 years old. So if Major Nelson is still around, he would be in his 80s. Maybe even his 90s. So, now the cool thing about all this, even if Major Nelson's dead, I think Mo Bang, I just read real quick there, said that Major Nelson would be dead. I think Jeannie is still hot looking. Because Jeannie, when Major Nelson found her, she was like, I think over 2,000 years old. So there is hope. Maybe we'll go on the beach looking for a bottle. I know if I was Major Nelson and I knew I was dying, I would probably take Jeannie's bottle and go throw it back into the ocean or hide it back on the beach because that's where I found it. So I'm pretty sure if we can find the bottle, we're going to find a hot Jeannie who's now 2,080 years old. This school that we're looking at here, it's called Cape View Elementary. This was the school I taught at. It was one of the first places I got hired as a teacher when I was teaching in Brevard. Cape View Elementary right here. So, old memories here. I used to teach here at this school as a first grade teacher. And John Davis will remember this. So if you're watching this, John, this is a look at our old school here. He was one of my students. And had all sorts of interesting stuff here. Believe it or not, there's a peacock up ahead. That's how prevalent these things are. Unless that's the same one stalking me. But I used to teach right here at Cape View Elementary School. It was one of my first schools. There's two peacocks right here. I don't know if you can see them sitting there. The peacocks are waiting for school to start. It's like today is a peacock kind of day. But I taught at this school, and just to show you how close it is to the beach, I had special permission from the principal. Yeah, I was one of those teachers that never really do normal stuff. But I asked the teacher if I could teach my class out on the beach, and she let me. So I would take my students out there, for that project. And we literally walked. We took a walking field trip. I'm going to try to get to the beach from here. We took a walking field trip because the beach is like right there. Right across, right behind the school. It's like a equivalent of about 1 or 2 blocks. So I had a couple parents. There was a rule that you had to have one parent for every 5 students. So I was fortunate that my class was fairly small. We had like, I think we had between 16 to 20 throughout the year. So we only needed like 3 or 4 parents to be with us. And they came, they just walked over. And we had some interesting parents, I tell you. One of the parents had a pet parrot. And she would come to the school with a parrot on her head. Yeah, she would come to escort my kids on the field trip, and she would bring her parrot. And the parrot would be perched on top of her head. Like a pirate, or it was on her shoulder, and it would climb up on her head. So this is the school right here to the right. And then 1 block down is the beach access, which we're going to go to. So this is Cape Canaveral. I've got a woman here coming with a stroller. I'm going to block the video here so we protect her identity. And her kid. All right. So anyhow, basically, I'm going to try to go here. I would bring my kids, and this was how it was possible to have class at the beach. The beach was literally 1 block over, and the principal let me bring my students out here. I don't know if John Davis was part of the group. There's a lot of cars here, so I can't park. They've taken off. Maybe there's 1 spot there. Let me look where I can turn around. But we would come onto the beach over here. Okay, let's park here. There's 1 spot. By the way, this is free parking. Hint, hint. But I know the locals are pissed off at me right now for pointing it out. Cocoa has become like a tourist spot, and they're charging for parking now. But certain spots that the locals know, you can still park for free. So this is one of the spots behind us. And there's a couple more. I'm gonna take out the phone. We're gonna go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. Let me get the phone. Sorry about that. Camera. This is one of the things about going live. I can't really edit this. All right, we're going out to the beach. Make sure I got my key. Turn off the charging. Lost my shoe. At least it didn't float down the river. I got it back. By the way, just so you know how I cleaned my wounds the other day, that area we were at by the port had water, working bathrooms, so I got a jug of water and washed myself off. Then I had some hydrogen peroxide that I rinsed, and I got a Band-Aid to try to cleanse the wound. But this is Cape Canaveral Beach right here. And, if I was Major Nelson, being 80 plus years old, I wouldn't want to travel too far to toss the bottle. So there's a high probability of us finding Jeannie's bottle out here on the beach. There's also a high probability that you guys are going to lose connection. Well, the Wi-Fi might go away. So if this suddenly stops broadcasting, it's because internet and Wi-Fi access on the beach, it's not easy. It disappears. There's some kind of white flowers here. Does anyone know what these white flowers are? There's like little white flowers here on the beach. We got the reeds here, and sometimes you see sea turtles. Sea turtles. They lay eggs up here. It looks almost like people tossing stuff. Look at all that free stuff you can get. So if you need some metal beams to work on your van, like for rods and stuff, there's some right there. There is a ship sitting offshore right there. That actually looks like a cruise ship. And I think it's just sitting out there with the crew, because they're not allowed to come in. Remember I was telling you about people stranded out there? The cruise ship out there. See, that's a cruise ship. And I suspect, maybe I'll come back and check every couple of days and see if it's still out there. If it's still out there, it's one of the cruise ships that are stuck. Now, just to give you a rough idea of what things are, where we are perspective-wise, down that way is Ron John's, okay? I don't know if you can see through the mist right there, the haze. That is the Beach Pier. You've seen me out there before. We're on the Cape Canaveral side, and it's just an ocean here. The sands are pretty nice. People are enjoying the day at the beach. Nobody's up packed So I think, we're fortunate that it's still open and people are not going crazy and packing the beaches. Everyone's kind of spread out, like as much as like probably 30 to 50 feet apart. So further down, you can see in the mist right there, see those tall towers and stuff? When you watch those rocket launches, that's where they're coming from. So that's where the rocket launches occur. So these people that live here at Cape Canaveral, Port Canaveral area, they can just come out and watch the spaceships go up in their backyard. They can actually step outside their backyard or look out their balconies and just see the rockets going up. And you can see our little surfer guys there. This is a normal sight for Florida. It is a Sunday morning. There are surfers out there. The waves are kind of small today. Not too windy. It's pretty calm. And I do not see a bottle anywhere. You know what I'm thinking now may have happened? They have they've been like promoting cleaning the beaches and stuff. So I bet you some people came out here to clean up trash and found Jeannie's bottle and then tossed it. I'm willing to bet that's what they did. Hey, look, flip-flops if anyone wants. But yeah, I think they came and they found Jeannie's bottle on the beach in the sand already. So Jeannie is probably sitting at the city dump. I'm gonna have to take you guys to the city dump to look for Jeannie's bottle. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Because I saw how clean the beach looked. That means the trash crew has come. The people have come to clean the beaches and have taken the bottle and probably put it in the trash. Or maybe they put it in recycling. Well, this is trash only. We're looking for Jeannie's bottle. Get some bottles in there, but nothing that looked fancy. Her bottle had this weird shape. I don't know if it was like look at this little walkway made back here for the people. So this connects right up to the housing area, and I don't know if you can see the people showering there on the end over there. Typical of Florida beaches, there are showers scattered near the beach itself, and they're public showers. I'm pointing these out for van dwellers that are traveling through that, the gyms are closed. As long as they haven't shut down the beaches and stuff, you have resources like showers and stuff that are available for free. And even parking here is available for free. Somebody did some art. I don't know if you can see the dolphin there. And this is a manatee, kind of like what they look like. If I can get this to clear up here. But this is a manatee. And this is the dolphin. That's the dolphins. And some of you think they're just art that people put up around the beach around here. No, you can see the real one in the water. They come up. And I'm surprised they don't have sharks. So some of the people are coming. I'm going to leave and let somebody else park. Some litter bug here, left trash. Probably not a local. Most of the locals, I would say, for the most part, in a place like this, they take their trash with them. But Cocoa, Cape Canaveral, this area gets a high number of visitors. And the visitors often come and trash it. They leave trash everywhere. They just dump stuff, which to me has pissed me off, but I'm not on a cleaning spree today. Sometimes, when I'm with my kids and stuff and we're here, when we see trash like that, we'll pick it up and take it to the trash bins. But people make me sick when they do that. They just dump trash everywhere. Let's go to the beautiful beach and let's just leave trash on it. Or throw trash on the parking and stuff. To me, it's just pure laziness, and it's stupid. It's like you're there at the area because you're saying it's beautiful and you want to hang out in a beautiful, serene area. But you, at the same time, you take your soda can or your food or your McDonald's wrapper or whatever, and you just dump it. You dump it not in the trash, which they have a trash can right nearby. You dump it. I'm trying to figure out how I can turn around here. Maybe if I go out this way and then loop around. I'm going to try to loop around here. You know, backing up in this thing's kind of difficult. It is limited in visibility. Although I have my... This is the reason the side of the vehicle, I know you don't see it, but right now I'm backing up. You want to leave it so that your side windows there, the blind spot on the passenger side, is left open. So you can see, and actually there's a cop sitting here. I'm going to show you there's a cop sitting here. Parked right here, the sheriff. Sheriff up front here, doing his duty. I don't think he's hassling anyone. But he is sitting here. See that cop right there? And he's just sitting outside watching people. Just making sure nobody's doing anything bad. But yeah, this is Cape View Elementary here to our right. That's where I taught. I'm trying to get a drink here. And get a somewhat warm Mountain Dew. Alright, we're going to go down Ridgewood, which I don't know these road names. I didn't deliver mail in this area, so I'm not that familiar with this side. But I did, you know, I taught here, so I would drive through this area. But yeah, I suspect Major Nelson, Major Healy lived in one of these houses here. It's right by the beach. And down the street, there used to be a little parlor. I don't know if they sold yogurt or something, called I Dream of Yogurt. And I can't think of a reason someone would put I Dream of Yogurt unless it was a business that was associated with Major Nelson and Roger Healy. And Jeannie. So they're around here somewhere. But like I said, I suspect that Jeannie's bottle is sitting in the city dump. Wow, there's another cop here. Cops are out all over. That is an unmarked police car with a push ram. I think I've seen about 6 or 7 cop cars this morning on a ride. It means the police are out patrolling. So we're taking one of those side roads. I know for some of you this is kind of boring, but for those of you who, you know, don't live in America or whatever, or live in another part of the country, it may be interesting to just see what the roads look like and, you know, what it looks like in a certain area. But this is what the normal people see, how the normal people live. You're looking at these big brown building, grayish brown, yellow buildings. I think they're condominiums. And we're looking for the access point for Ron John's and stuff, which is coming up. I'm trying to remember if I already hit the pier. No, you know what? I don't think we've gone to the pier yet. Yeah, we're still north of the pier, the Cocoa Beach Pier, which is a tourist spot. So if we get to the pier, if I can get in parking without being charged, which I think they charge parking now. There used to be free parking at the pier on one side, but they started charging. And I don't want to pay, you know, like $10 or something just to park for a few minutes to give you guys a tour. But we're gonna go and take a quick look. But the pier is like a big, huge tourist spot that they've created. The pier has always been here. It's been here since I think the 1950s. And you know, they would host like events there, like the surfing competitions and stuff like that. So it's interesting because when you watch like old movies, remember the old movies where they had to have the surfing and stuff in California and stuff? It was similar in Florida. They would have these, the Beach Boys would come out and actually sing on the beach. I don't know if that was Jeannie or not. Did you guys see her? She was wearing a pink top. That might have been Jeannie. The question I have to ask is this. Did Major Nelson end up marrying Jeannie, and did she end up becoming a human? If she became a human, okay, then that means Jeannie might be aged. Maybe, doesn't remain as a genie. Maybe she lost. I have to rewatch those episodes to see if Jeannie lost her magical genie powers. Because if she lost her magical genie powers, it's been 50 years. That means Jeannie is now old. 2050 years old. Or 2080 years old, or whatever. I don't know. Jeannie would be really old. So I don't know. These are the questions that go through my mind, Highly philosophical stuff like, did Jeannie age? I used to sometimes drive this side road, when I wasn't on Highway A1A, to go up to the school when I was working. If I had time and I had for a scenic ride, I would go here instead of A1A. We were on the road right by the beach. And sometimes you would see like duck crossings. Yeah. You'll see a mama duck leading like a bunch of baby ducks crossing the road. Jogging, bike riding, walking. That is what people here in Florida do. I think they do the same in California. Now, interestingly, I do think that Florida has more older people than California does. I don't know. It just seems like it to me. There's actually differences in the different beaches in Florida. Around Brevard County, where I am right here, right now, there's mostly older people at the beaches and stuff. They're the ones who can afford to live here, but they tend to be older. Here's the pier, the Cocoa Beach Pier right here. We're going to try to turn down this road. We're not going to park, but we're going to turn down the road and come back out. This is a tourist spot now, designated as a tourist spot. You can see the trolley there doesn't seem to be running, but they take people to the pier. And you can see the tourist families. I'm going to try to hide it because there is kids. All right. And some people in a camper van RV with surfboards. So all of these are now paid parking, but the pier itself is here, and it has, like, you've seen me on some videos where I give a tour of this pier, but basically you can go shopping in there as well as restaurants. So you can eat right over on the pier. And then, but actually access to the pier, the beach and stuff is free. It's parking where they get you, but if I'm going to point out where you can get free parking here. So parking at the pier itself. And now I think they have those electronic meters with the tickets. I hate those things. But basically, this is like an ice cream shop. It says Trader Rick's, surf and beach rentals, beer, wine, ice, snacks. And those are actually reliefs that they put on the buildings. It's pretty cool. Good photo spot. Get some nice pictures here. But you can come out here for free and do all this for free. You don't have to be a tourist and spend... I mean, if you were a tourist and just parking here, you could end up spending $20 to $30 parking and doing stuff, that a local could do for free. The same, almost exact same thing. A tourist could end up spending a couple $100 buying food and stuff here, which you would pay. Parking is $15 here. $15. I don't know if they raised the California rates up. The last time I was in California, I think it was $9 or $12 to park on the beach. Coco has raised it to $15. So that's kind of expensive just to park your vehicle. I'll let that lady, is that Jeannie? Does that look like Jeannie? She could be. That could very well be Jeannie right there. Anyhow, this is the beach pier itself, the Cocoa Pier, and really to the left here, this is a side road. I don't know if it's still free. It may be free. I didn't see meters there, So the left side might still be free. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's still free on the left side. And then across the street, there's like an empty lot. I think you can park there for free. Not 100% sure because I'm checking. And they keep changing it. And Coco keeps changing the parking and stuff because they're obviously wanting to make money off tourists and stuff. So they've been redesignating new parking spots, charging money. But see, the locals will complain. That's the good thing about Florida locals. They actually do complain when the city starts charging for parking. So as a compromise, I think the city ended up designating certain spots that are free. So locals who know about these spots can go park there for free access. And the tourists obviously, pay the money, $15 upwards. So $15 to park. Unbelievable. That doesn't even include anything. That's just parking. What happened was, I think the place, the pier, I think got bought out by I don't know if it's Hyatt or Marriott. I think it's Hyatt. The hotel chain and stuff. Oh, there's some kind of event going on here. Or maybe not an event. Oh, this is an event. This is Ron John's area. Yeah, we're at, I thought there was an event because they got all this fancy stuff here. This is the end of 520, the road called 520, State Road 520. But you see the Cocoa Beach Surf Shop and, Cocoa Beach Surf Company is what they call themselves, and Ron John's over here. And there is free parking at Ron John's, which I'm going to show you. There's designated parking, which costs money, but then there's free parking, which I will show you if you happen to be around this area. This whole area right here to the right and stuff, they do charge for parking now. So you go and you pay at the booth over there to park. But if you are willing to walk just half a block, behind Ron John's, there's free parking right here. So this is kind of a giveaway. So right here, on this side, directly behind Ron John's, used to be free, but they started charging parking. So all of this area here, they have the numbers on the ground, on numbers on the floor. They charge for parking now, but where it says Ron John parking here, this is free. So if you pull, it says mask face coverage required for entry into the store. So Ron John's is requiring masks and stuff, but you see all these people parked here? And all these slots here are actually free. So it's compact vehicles and whatnot. This is and access to the beach. And for those of you who, like me, didn't have money or anything like that, you can shower here. There's like 3 or 4 showers. Those little booths there have showers. So you might have seen me here do a couple episodes where I show you I can shower over here. But this is all free parking. Now, the police do patrol this area, but they tend to be cool. If you're not doing anything illegal, they just leave you alone. They're looking for people doing illegal stuff. They're not just looking to hassle people. So I will say, for the most part, the Cocoa Beach police have been pretty good. The police I see around here, I never really see them just arbitrarily hassling people. I always see them patrolling, which is good. They're patrolling to keep the bad people from doing bad stuff. But, oh, by the way, just a little side note here. I don't know if it's called Faulty Towers or whatever. This pink building used to be a nudist resort. I don't know if it still is a nudist resort. But they have the walls and stuff here because the people on the other side of the wall would be all naked walking around at the swimming pool and stuff. So this spot used to be a nudist resort right next to Ron John's. There's key lime pie available here. So Ron John's has expanded. They used to have a tiny little shack, but now it's like this big funky looking building, which a lot of locals, it's a local landmark, but the city hates Ron John. I think there's a story about Ron John in that the reason the city hates him, they could never catch him. Originally, from what I understand, the old story that I was told by my boss, who used to run Beach Computers, Bill from Beach Computers. I'm going to attempt to go and take the side road instead of going down A1A. But to the right is Ron John's. I'm also going to show you straight ahead there. Do you see the big blue building right there? that is a parking garage that's free also. So you can park there for free. Maybe I'll take you there just to show you. I'm trying to show people who happen to be traveling, even though traveling right now is kind of hard. It's a lot harder than normal because of all the restrictions and rules and stuff. But certain places are still open, and I thought I would point out this area since I'm pretty familiar with this area. And if you happen to be coming through for a day or two, where you can find a little bit of refuge. Basically, beachside is generally good, but remember the cops here really patrol, and they can give you a hard time in certain cities. If you're not doing anything bad and you're just behaving like a normal person, you're probably not going to run into any problems. But I wanted to show you this parking garage right here. This is, I don't know if it's Radisson or whatever. I forget what company this is. Sheraton. Okay, there's a hotel here, the Sheraton Hotel. But next to it, right behind it, it's this, see, to the right is Ron John's right here. The weird funky building is Ron John's. The one on the left is not Ron John's. It is the 4 Points. I think it's Sheraton's 4 Points. It says 4 Points by Sheraton. And it has the front section there, has shop. You know, and they even have a big, huge, giant fish tank. So it's similar to Ron John's. It's competing directly with Ron John's. But if you come down this point and you go to this parking garage, it is free. So you can park here and then walk to the beach instead of paying $15. And not only that, you can get shaded parking. So I'm going to take you up to the parking garage just to show you here. So you come this way. Now, I would come up here with my kids and stuff, my family, because it says no overnight parking, except by permit only. Permits available at hotel front desk. Vehicles towed after 11 p.m. This is a new sign, so evidently they've been catching people parking here overnight. I personally have never tried to sleep here overnight because I think that's foolish. There's cameras everywhere, monitoring everything. I point this out because potentially this garage here, if you happen to be in this area and you know you have the hurricanes, although you're right on the beach, this probably isn't the best garage to park at. But parking garages like this may offer some safety. But I wouldn't park at this one because this one's on the barrier island. It's one of the ones that'll probably sink. But on the mainland, the hospitals and stuff have parking garages. And on Merritt Island, there's a Canaveral hospital, which has a parking garage similar to this. Now, I don't know how much safer that one is in here, but at least it's deeper. It's, you know, it's not on the beach itself, it's on the island. But even the island, Merritt Island, would potentially have issues. But we're going all the way up to the top because I wanted to show you what the view looks like. But this is free parking, and I point this out because it's good for like a day. You know, I like to do things that don't really cost money, other than like if you're getting food or something. And even half the time, I'll bring my own food because I can cook food, you know, rice and stuff. But basically, we're at the rooftop. Somebody's up here with their little motorcycle, but we're going to come up here just to show you the view. It's interesting to come up here. It doesn't cost any money. You can come here and just stay for a few minutes, stay for a couple hours. We are getting a drink. On top of the world. Oops. So looking out, camera's having a bit of a difficult time here. I'm going to try to clean the lens. So that is the Atlantic Ocean out that way. We were up way over there. I don't know if you can see those little tower thingies sticking up right there. Those were those rocket things that I was pointing at earlier. Just trying to give you a perspective as to where everything is, what everything looks like. But this is what the Atlantic Ocean looks like. There is a cruise ship out there. I do believe that cruise ship is just sitting there. They're not even allowed to be at the port, inside the port. So I think that's one of the cruise ships just sitting out there. And there's another little weird thing with the little, I don't know if you see that little weird thing with the saucer things. I think that might be one of the recovery vehicles for the SpaceX, potentially. Yeah, that is definitely a cruise ship out there. Um, Nobody wants to know if these are time-shared condos. I'm not quite sure. I think some are owned. And there's a couple further down that are just hotels and resorts. They're resorts, but a lot of these are timeshares. Look at they have like their little tennis and all that stuff. This is the life. Some people retire and this is how they live, you know. They just stay in these fancy condos right on the beach side and play tennis and go bike riding and walking and do all the nice stuff. We're going to go over to the other side so you can see when I talk about the river and how small the island really is. You kind of get a perspective how thin the strip of land that we're on is. So here on the right is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, just to show you how thin this little island is. That's the Atlantic Ocean. So this is the barrier island we're on right here. This is the Ron John's parking lot, Ron John's building right here. But do you see right beyond the Ron John's building, that other water there? That's the river. That's the Banana River. So you're talking between here, right there where it starts, to right there. That's how thin the strip is. I'm thinking that's probably maybe half a mile or less than half a mile, a quarter of a mile wide. Like from there to there. That's how thin this little strip of land is. And now you know why I say when, you know, they say when a hurricane comes, a big hurricane with those big 20, 30 foot tidal waves or whatever that they expect to hit, they think this whole area will be wiped out. It'll be gone. But that's how thin this area is, from there to there. This is the island, the width of the island. And then the ocean itself, to make it even scarier, the ocean level is higher than the land. Yeah. The island that I'm on is underwater. Parts of this island is 12 to 20 feet below sea level. Let that sink in. What I'm saying is, along the edge here, they built up a wall that's holding the water back. So the wall is along this edge and it's holding the water back. Parts of this land that we're on right now is below that level of the ocean. So if that wall breaks, the ocean will flood in and all of this stuff gets washed away. That's the barrier islands. And that's why when there's a hurricane, they always try to evacuate this whole island, all the people that are here on the islands. When I say island, it's like one big ass long strip. Look at a map of Florida and you can see what I'm talking about. It's long. It's huge. And there are literally, I think, maybe a couple 100,000 people living on the barrier islands. Maybe even 500,000 or more. So that is heading south towards Miami. So lots of hotels, mostly empty right now. You can see that blue the green building, you know, in front of us right now, the green roof. That's a hotel that's empty. Nobody's here. Tourists are gone. Coco gets mostly, I think, international tourists and stuff that come from Orlando. We get like spillover, you know, they come over to Orlando, obviously for Disney, Universal. Sometimes they go out to Tampa for Busch Gardens. You know, Tampa, maybe we'll take a road trip. You know, it's been a while since we had a road trip. As long as they haven't locked everything down yet in Florida, maybe we'll take a road trip and go over to the West Coast. I know Timothy's like, West Coast, West Coast. Florida has an East Coast and a West Coast. Our West Coast is the Gulf of Mexico. It's interesting to be in Florida because you're surrounded by water. You got water to the east, you got water to the south, you got water to the west. So there we are again. That is the Banana River right there. You see that little strip of land right there? That is Merritt Island. Then beyond that strip of land is the Indian River. You know, you always hear me getting the river all mixed up because there's a Banana River right here, and then on the other side of that land is the Indian River. So Florida's interesting if you live on one of these islands because you can have sunrise. Like we can have here, we get the sunrise on the East Coast, which is a real sunrise. And I get a sunset over here over water. So it's weird because I can get a sunrise and a sunset over water. And then if I go to the island, I also get a sunrise over the river and then a sunset over, you know, on the other side with water also. And if you look at my photography and stuff like that, I have a lot of beach images that look like they were shot at sunset. They were actually sunrise because they were shot on the beach. So the only way for me to get the sun in there is obviously at sunrise, not sunset. But people always associate, you know, the bikini babes on the beach and stuff with being a sunset. But in Florida, for me, it was always a sunrise. And the reason is I live on the East Coast. But even when I would go down to Miami to shoot in Miami, it was all, you know, like when you see Miami sunset, they're sunrises. They're not sunset because Miami is on the East Coast. So, you know, Jupiter Inlet, all that stuff is on the East Coast. So you always see sunrises. If you see a water sunset image produced by somebody in Florida, it's going to be mostly on a river where the sun is setting by the water. Now, the exception to that will be the people who live on the west coast of Florida, like Tampa, Clearwater, you know, that area there. But their sunset will be over the Gulf of Mexico. And honestly, from what I have seen so far, it's not as... I haven't really seen sunsets there because I'm not out there at night, but I think it's prettier on the East Coast with the actual sunrise and stuff. But I've not been out there at sunset, so I don't know. But I do know you know, when they name a place like Clearwater, that water is not clear. Don't ever trust what they name a city or a body of water. Like when they say Clear Lake, that is probably the most polluted lake in the area. Clearwater Beach, if you live there, you know what I'm talking about. That water is so dirty. I went in there to shoot with a model, because I do a lot of model photographies. And she was wearing jewelry. I kid you not. And that water from the Clearwater Beach, her jewelry got discolored by that water. We were only in it briefly. That means there's chemicals, toxic shit in that water. And it actually discolored her jewelry, which probably wasn't, you know, wasn't pure gold or whatever, but it had like a gold plating or whatever, and the plating literally etched off and it became an ugly, pukey rust. I am going to attempt to head back out here now. And I don't know if you're still with me here, just to show you this little area here. It's my little roaming area where I hang out. So this is free parking all here. You can see plenty of parking right now. And even when it's tourist season and stuff, the tourists don't generally come here except for the ones who stay at the hotel. Because, you know, they also park here. This is hotel parking. So they do park here for the hotel. But the hotel, I think there's way more parking than there is hotel rooms. Like I said, I see all these signs now that say, well, no skateboarding, no bicycling, no loitering. But now they definitely have signs that say no overnight. So some people have been caught here sleeping overnight. So don't try that. But that doesn't mean you can't stay here. Like you could come here during the daytime and park it here all day long. You could also probably stay here till about 10 o'clock at night. You know? So if you needed a nap, you could possibly, depending on how early you could get yourself to sleep, take a nap from like 6 p.m. till 10. Gives you 4 hours of napping. Then go somewhere else. But most people, they wouldn't want to wake up in the middle of the night, you know, having to move. So there's other spots. I don't want to talk about all the spots and stuff in the local area because I'm having to use them right now. And you know my situation, you know, with people hunting me, stalking me and stuff right now. So I have to be very careful what I reveal. But at the same time, you know, this stuff's useful, especially right now, as some people might be needing it. Right only. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to make another loop to the mainland, and then we're going to, just to show you some other spots here in Merritt Island. And we'll end the broadcast here. But this road that we're looking at right now is North Atlantic Avenue, which is also known as Highway A1A. It's the major road that runs up the coast of Florida. Parts of it connect and become US 1. But this is Highway A1A. So these cars you see whizzing by, it's the major highway here. I think I'll point out a couple more refuge areas. Timothy or anybody else traveling through this area, if you decide to take a cross-country road trip and end up here in Florida, worthy of note, because you're going to be in this area, I'm going to point out some landmarks that are worth looking at. Obviously, you got Ron John's here on our right. You got the beaches, which is all over the place, but these are the beaches that I roam at, and you see the videos being made. You can see these are the touristy stores and stuff. To the left here, when we turn the road here, there's actually a pretty cool store called Dinosaurs and Ancient Creatures. They have basically, what is it, petrified dinosaur bone, you know, rocks and stuff like that, and bones. Supposedly real ones, and some fake, you know, some tourist ones that they make, but they're kind of expensive, the real ones, obviously. I usually go to these places not to buy souvenirs or anything, but just to look around. I might buy a postcard or a little trinket or something for my kid. But it's worth a stop just to look in if you like to see dinosaur stuff. Like dinosaur eggs. You know, dinosaur poo. But yeah, that store is pretty neat. I think I tried to film it once and the guy didn't let me film. Just waiting here for the light. There is the nothing over $8.99 beachwear store. 3 for $10. You can get t-shirts, towels, all sorts of stuff. The store looks totally empty right now because it's Sunday morning, but also tourists aren't here. Florida probably makes, I don't know, I'm just gonna take a rough guess, probably 70% of its income is from tourists. So Florida is hurting really bad, and they're like, all the people you know, work in the tourist industry are unemployed right now, and then unemployment in Florida is still not paying people. It's all messed up. It's a messed up state. I guess you would say Florida is one hot mess. All right, this is the dinosaur store here on the right, or on the left rather. That brown building right there obviously looks closed right now. So maybe I'm showing you all these things that you can't even go to. You come here and say, you know, I showed it, but it's still closed due to coronavirus. Maybe I'll show you stuff you can go to. I think that dinosaur store, I think, is closed. Might even go out of business. Okay, we are heading west, so we're heading away from the beach, away from the ocean. This body of water we're going over right here, this is the Banana River, and a potential refuge. I have never used it, but right here on the right, it's Cape Canaveral Hospital. If you look at the front of the building, you'll see the parking garages I was talking about. A potential safety spot if you have nowhere else to go for like a hurricane if you're stuck out here in a vehicle. Although, honestly, parking in a garage on the river next to a barrier island that's 12 foot underwater might not be the smartest idea. In an emergency, if you have nowhere else to go, my gut feeling would be, if you can, continue to head west, because you're going to inland. And as a hurricane hits, it gets weaker and weaker as it travels over land. So all these side pullouts, you can see the cars here, you can park there for the day. I don't know about nighttime. I know that on the causeway, I have spent several nights on the Melbourne area, and the police did not hassle me. But there will be like side pullouts here alongside of the causeways, various causeways. So you can park there. Legally, you can park there and fish. So I think if you're fishing all night, they leave you alone. So if a cop shows up and you happen to be laying out there with a fishing pole, he's probably going to leave you alone. See how the car's parked here, the little van? So you could park out there and take a nap. And what's really cool about all this, several things you need to note about the parking by water like this. Water automatically cools the air. So being in Florida when it's really hot, parking by the water, you will have air that's about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. Then the second thing is wind tends to blow when you're by open water like this. So if you open your windows and doors and stuff, the wind with the cool air will blow through your vehicle. The only bad part is you're actually getting salt. Because the water blowing through here, the air is salty. So you get a salt spray, so things may get salty and may start to rust. Salt corrodes metal. And so your electronics and stuff, like your computer and your TV and stuff, could potentially go bad if you do it too much. Because you're letting salt spray all over your electronics. But I pointed out because, like right now in the summer, it's kind of hot and some people are like, how do you stay cool? Well, for me, I take advantage of the water, and the wind and stuff. So when I have free time during the day and stuff, when I'm not working on the RV or in the van or wherever, I will park by water and let the air blow through. So we just went over Banana River right here. Banana River's huge. And now we're on an island called Merritt Island. There is a Walmart up here. I don't know what their overnight policy is now. They used to not be an issue to park at this Merritt Island Walmart. Over to the right coming up here. So this is North Banana River Drive. And then we're getting ready to go right by the Walmart. This particular Walmart also, but like I said, I think I'm not 100% positive that they may still allow overnight parking. Of course, I haven't tried it and haven't had the knock. I have parked here in the past and it wasn't an issue, but there were Walmarts in Melbourne and stuff that I parked at that are now an issue. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I think you can do it. Matter of fact, I think I did it recently with my kid in an RV, an actual RV. And they didn't knock. So it was one night. But this is the Walmart over here on this side. Check that out. Walmart right there. It's on Newfound Harbor Drive, 520. So we're continuing on the road towards mainland Florida. We're still on Merritt Island. This part of Merritt Island is huge. Remember how I just showed you the barrier island? It was like less than half a mile wide, maybe only a quarter of a mile wide. Merritt Island, parts of it, this part that we're on, is a big fat part that might be as much as 2 or 3 or 4 miles wide. So this part of Merritt Island is huge. And what we're coming up to right now is another spot with, you know, for those of you who just need a little refuge if you're traveling through. I know that I had some van dwellers that encountered me out here. They were like, where can you go? Where you can go? I'm trying to point out, if you're in this area, just stuff where you might find resources, if they haven't totally shut them down again. Because they did shut these down previously, although they've started to open them back up. Over here, once you cross that bridge, is Merritt Island Mall. Over on our left here, which we're going to turn into. So at Merritt Island Mall, you can walk in and it's got air conditioning, it's got a food court, it's got a bathroom you can use. There's an Ollie's store out front. You know, if the mall itself is closed, the Ollie's is open. And I must tell you about the parking lot behind the mall. There are these crazy medians that jump out in front of your car, and if you're not paying attention, you'll run over it. For those of you who remember that incident. But the reason I'm pointing this out, I'm going to show you some other spots for van dwellers or RVers or whatever that happen to be in the area. It's a worthy stop because it's free. And it's a worthy stop because you might be able to get water or use a bathroom or something. Or stay there for a whole day and just relax and have fun without spending money. This road, the mall, is off a road called Sykes Creek Parkway. S-Y-K-E-S. Sykes Creek Parkway. And it is the Merritt Island Square Mall. Apparently this light takes forever. Okay. Got an Outback Steakhouse. And the mall is over here on the right. This mall is pretty much dead. It's like mostly empty inside. Businesses are folding. They've been like that forever. But the reason I pointed it out is not because of the mall, but right behind the mall over here, this is where you want to go. Especially those of you who are prior military. This is like a Veterans Memorial Park right here, right behind the mall. It is free, and there's actually a little veteran museum in there. And this place is really cool because it's good for photos. If you have children, grandchildren and stuff, with bringing them here, it doesn't cost anything, and they're allowed to walk up to the stuff and look at it. But it's got, it says no dogs or animals allowed except for service dogs. But it's got the helicopters, monuments to the police dogs, not police, but army, you know, army police dogs, or military, military police dogs. It's got trucks. These are all real. So you can come here and get pictures. Let me come around here. They even allow you to climb inside some of them. This is the Brevard Veterans Memorial. You can Google it. Definitely worth a stop here. I've done some videos out here. They no longer allow people in it. Stopped it, but you used to be able to climb into this Humvee. They don't let people in it anymore. People must have defaced it or something. They used to have it totally open, and you could actually go sit inside and take pictures. And same with the helicopter right there. You could get inside it. It's not the whole helicopter, it's just the front cockpit. But they have now blocked it off, which is sad. I thought it was neat that they let civilians, you know, go inside an actual cockpit of a helicopter or a Humvee and take pictures. But they've apparently blocked it off now. Inside here is the veteran service and stuff, but I think they're closed. They've been closed due to COVID since this whole thing went down. I guess you can still get a picture sitting inside a Jeep, though. They haven't blocked this off. Because freedom is not free, and that is something that all military members and prior members know. I think civilians don't really understand what that statement means. But those of us who have served, we truly can appreciate and understand exactly what that means. They have built an extension onto this area so you can, come sit in the back or walk around on a little pier area right over the river. And they have a little memorial right there for the soldiers who didn't make it back. Now, you can come over here and walk around and take pictures and read all the stuff that they have here. See all the sponsors. But you can read all of this stuff here and look at all the different monuments. They have tributes to the different wars. And this particular place has it for all the service members. So whether you're Army, Navy, Marine, I don't think they include the Coast Guard. Coast Guard used to fall under Department of Transportation, but recently I think they got moved. I think Coast Guard is now considered a military branch. I can't tell. I can't remember if they fall under military. My understanding was Coast Guard was considered civilian. When I was in the service, Coast Guard was considered civilian service. But then later on, I think they got moved under military service. Now, we're still in the same Veterans Park, but look what they have here. They have Veterans Memorial Park. And this is where, oh, there's a helicopter flying up there. Huh. It looks like a park. No, it's not a park, it's landscaping. This particular park is cool because it's got a working bathroom. I don't know if they have it open or locked again. They might have locked it down again because of COVID, but you can go fishing here at this lake and you can catch really decent sized fish. So you got this fishing right here at this lake. There's a little playground and a little bathroom over there. Park your car, but also here they have slots on the side that if you had a big vehicle like an RV or whatever, you could park for the day. And if you walk down this way to the right over here, down this side, there's actually a little fishing area that connects. So worth stopping by. You can spend a whole day here if you wanted to, but more than likely a couple hours, like 3 or 4 hours, just to chill. Here's a little walkway here, and you can go fishing back there. But yeah, this is a photo op area here. If you wanted to pose with tanks, with airplanes, with... Sadly, like I said, they now no longer let you sit inside the Humvee and the helicopter. One more spot, and then we're going to call it a day. If you go behind the mall, you remember this building here is now climate-controlled storage thingy. The building on the right here. That's where I crashed the van a couple months back. Remember the road was all messed up and there was stuff jutting out? I think they've removed it all. They've replaced everything with climate-controlled storage units. And they've removed all those weird medians that stuck out in the middle of the road. We're currently behind the mall. I'm trying to remember how to get there. It's a really nice park here. I don't think it's off Plamosa. Although I think we could down Plamosa. So we went behind the mall. Looks like there's a bunch of buses here at this thing for sale. These buses could be a nice size to convert into an RV. All right, this road that we're going to go onto is called South Courtenay, Courtenay Parkway. It's another major road that runs down. It pretty much runs down Merritt Island. But I point this out because there's a nice park here that you can hang out at. If you go this way, there's a Checkers down the street, a couple blocks, about 3 or 4 blocks from here, north of here. But if you go to the left, which is south, this is Merritt Island. Almost doesn't feel like we're on an island because it's huge. Going by a 7-Eleven. That looks like another cop. Fire rescue. If you follow this road, it's kind of a scenic ride. It'll take you down Merritt Island. All the way to Pineda Causeway, or if you go further, you can go to Dragon's Point. They say that it's Dragon's Point because there used to be a dragon down at the end there, but the dragon broke and fell apart. They're in process of trying to decide if they're going to build a new dragon at Dragon's Point. It's called Dragon's Point and there's no dragon there anymore. There used to be a giant dragon there. But this is State Road 3 or Courtenay Parkway. So we're heading down Courtenay Parkway and coming up here, I'm not going all the way down. I'm just trying to show you this park right here. There's something huge in the sky. I think a plane is pulling a banner. I don't know if you can see in the sky there. There's a little airplane. See that little dot? And then he's pulling a big, huge yellow banner. Banner advertising. Right over the tree line there. He's going to be coming toward me, so we might not see it so much. I don't know if you can see that big banner right there. But yeah, they do airplane advertising here. and they fly up and down the beach, you know, the coastline, so that the people at the beach can see the advertising. They're advertising to people on the beach. Anyhow, there was a soccer field or whatever here, a football field. Right when you go past the football field, to the right here is going to be a nice park. Feels like you're out in the middle of nowhere, but actually the park is in the middle of a housing area on the other side. Show it to you here. Coming up. Okay. Right before you get to the blinking yellow light, there's a turn here that goes into Rotary Park. It says Rotary Park, Brevard Parks, and Brevard County Parks and Recreation. It's a nice little park. You bring a kid here. It's got a nice climbing thing to play in. I used to bring my son here when he was younger. I think they may have the bathrooms open. You know, a lot of places are closing bathrooms, which to me is ridiculous, but that's what they do. So they're trying to control the virus. So I guess people spread it in the bathroom. So this is the big climbing thing that's available. And it's got like swing sets and stuff like that. And there's a pavilion here, which is where the bathroom is. So the pavilion here has a bathroom access and electricity. I don't know if it's turned on all the time, so you might be able to use it. So you can park here and chill. And as a bonus, there's a little walk area that we're going to go on, and then that's it. I'm going to stop the broadcast, but there's a Rotary Park Nature Center. And this is the end of our trip here, but I will take you on a little walk. Get some water. As I open up my door, you get to feel how hot and humid it really is outside. The van's AC was making me feel really nice. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's so hot out here. No smoking, bicycle, skateboards, littering, or jogging. No jogging out here. All right. The Nature Center, when it's open, is pretty cool. They will have all sorts of wildlife and other displays and stuff that you can look at. This is a great place to bring kids. If you have kids, it's free. Good exercise. It looks like they have some kind of new display here. I'm going to try to show it. It says, welcome to Storytime Stroll. So they got some kind of stuff going on, some kind of event. Hi, how are you? So it looks like bamboo. I'm not sure what is up with this looks like they got a bunch of little bamboo sticks. It's locked, so not for free for grab. So I'm not sure what's going on. And it says welcome to Storytime Stroll, so I guess they're probably doing stories. Oh. Hi there, how are you guys? Doing good? Good. Fantastic.
Good to see you.
Yes, likewise, sir. You take care now. They have like little areas here. You could have classrooms. You can, conduct classes and stuff as a teacher or whatever. So I know teachers are probably familiar with this, but you can bring your kids here. I would bring my kids here for a walk. And it's really nice because it's like you know, a chance to kind of get into nature with a fairly safe environment because you gotta. Oh, it's starting to flood here. Swamp fern, Lichnum cerulatum. I can't, I can't read Latin. So, nobody knows for certain what brought owls into the Royals' backyard in San Marcos, California. Some thought it was the windstorm. Others said it was the box. So evidently they may have owl boxes or something out here. It's interesting they're talking about it in California, but we're in Florida. You know, this would make a great spot to build a yurt somewhere back there. Hmm. Put a little sign that says, here we have Florida swamp ape hiding out in his yurt. This is called a salt bush. Salt bush? I wonder if it tastes salty. Deerberry. So, good way to learn plant identification. Little areas to just sit and chill. You know, what's interesting about being here, like right now, it's just the same as if you're under quarantine or not. Even without quarantine, it's usually empty here. So these are like the little bat boxes I guess they're building and putting up everywhere. Although I haven't seen one yet. They're building bat boxes. And some of you might be like, why do they want bats? Aren't they the ones spreading coronavirus? I think bats, for the most part, eat insects. They eat all these insects that bite you and stuff. And in order for the bats to spread the coronavirus, I guess the bat has to have coronavirus. The thing is, like, you could have a room full of crowded people, and if nobody's infected, nobody gets infected. So if you have a room of 10,000 people and nobody there was infected, it's absolutely safe. The problem occurs is if you have a room of 10,000 people and even one person in there was infected. That's where the mask and stuff are important, and the social distancing and stuff. Because all it takes is one person, and that person could end up contaminating everyone. Oh, I guess that's what the little pages are, a story. And it says, it was a small wooden box about the size of a dollhouse and perched on top of a 15-foot pole beside a mimosa tree. There was a door just the right size for barn owls and a tiny night vision camera inside that would allow Carlos and Donna Royal to watch the owls they hoped would make the box a home. For 2 years, it had sat empty until that big January storm. The wind blew so hard it knocked over the fence along one side of the Royals' yard. At dawn, Carlos went outside to check the damage. That's when he noticed a scratching sound coming from inside the box. So that's what they meant by the story time. They posted stories into those little things so you can read, and you can walk and read the story as you go on your trip through the woods. I don't know if you can see this. That's a natural trail. So either human or animal were going on that path. Here's another natural trail. But we're on a man-made trail. And surprisingly, look what's out here. I bet you can have electricity. Looks like you can have electricity out here. So here's what you do. You come over here and you follow the natural trail out into the back behind those bushes, and you build a yurt back there somewhere, and you run a power line out to here, and you can have air conditioning in your yurt out in the woods. And then when you need to go to the bathroom, you sneak back onto the trail and you walk over to the pavilion area, because there's a bathroom over there. It's got running water and bathroom access. And I don't know if this was graffiti, which would be very sad. I think it's graffiti. I think somebody came in here and defaced this place, painting a bird, which is sad. Okay, so we left off with Carlos finding the scratching sound. Carlos ran back inside, calling out to his wife, "I think we have an owl." He switched on the television set, which was connected to the camera in the box. A beautiful speckled barn owl with its telltale heart-shaped face appeared on the screen, standing on one leg in the corner. Carlos and Donna, who gave names to all the birds and animals that frequent their backyard garden, observed the owl for a few minutes before Donna decided it was a female. "She looks like a Molly to me," Donna declared. So, Molly has moved into their little barn owl box. It's not a bat box. Was it a bat box or barn owl? No, I'm getting bats confused with barn owls. I guess in California, they make those boxes for barn owls. But in Florida, we make boxes for bats. Yeah. Maybe, we go to one of these other parks, I will show you the bat boxes. So evidently, California likes barn owls. Florida likes bats. That's where I'm getting confused. Okay. So this is what they saw inside. Okay. Looks like Molly. For the rest of the day, the Royals watched Molly on their television, not wanting to miss anything the little barn owl might do. Molly shuffled around some, but since owls are nocturnal, which means they're active at night, mostly she closed her eyes and slept, standing up as owls often do. So owls sleep standing up. Interesting to know. By the way, this red stuff that you see on the tree here is called lichen. The red and the white and the green and stuff, and they turn different colors depending on how dirty the air is. If you see, I think, red and green, I think it's okay, but if it is all gray or something, I think it means it's really dirty. I have to double check that. There was one of the parks talks about the lichen and how they grow on the trees. And it acts as a natural pollution index. So you can look at it and see the quality of the air in a given area. Because the lichen will be a certain color. Hi, how are you? So, with that, you can basically use nature. Yeah. Some kids are writing in hello Slowson. Can't even spell. The graffiti have come here, the little kids. I don't know how kids can do that other than their parents aren't teaching them. Anyhow, let's continue here. That evening, just after the sun dipped below the horizon, Molly began to call out with loud, guttural hisses. Suddenly, a second owl swooped into the box. Carlos and Donna immediately heard through the open windows of their house chirping and screeching so loud that even the neighbor's dog began to bark and howl. At first, the Royals thought the two owls were fighting, maybe over the box. Then Carlos began to chuckle at the image on the television. The new arrival, a white-chested male, was perched on... Oh! The new arrival, a white-chested male, was perched on Molly's back, tugging at her neck feathers and his beak. Well, 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 it appears that Molly has a boyfriend, said Carlos. Let's call him McGee. Reminds me of the time I was filming these squirrels that were running around, and I thought they were playing. My kids were with me. And these squirrels by the library were running around chasing each other. One was screeching and screaming, and we were watching them. And I said, hey, look, the squirrels are playing. And then one of them jumped on the other one and started doing something. Yep. I don't think they were playing. So here's another spot for building a yurt with electricity. There's a plug right here, which means You could probably go all the way back there, which is like totally hidden. Build up a little yurt, bring a power line, and you're all set. All right, let's see what happens next. Okay, here we are again. McGee flew away after the brief tussle, and the box was silent again. But soon he returned with another flurry of wings, a small rabbit, clutched in his powerful talons. He dropped the meal beside Molly. "He's hunting for her," said Donna. "I think they're here to stay." So, they got food. Look at all this graffiti. That is so sad. I am so sad to see that this place has been defaced. You know, it's like, I wonder if kids like that, when they grow up, if they ever think back to the stuff that they did and say, man, I was such a jerk. But then, you know, I see grown-ups doing it. Like at the national parks and stuff, BLM land. They're painting the rocks. They're doing weird stuff, defacing it and breaking it and doing weird stuff. I'm like, what is wrong with you? So that's been there for thousands of years. In this case, not thousands of years, but let's take a look here. Go on the computer looking up research. Mesmerized, the Royals spent the first week watching Molly and McGee or reading about barn owls. They learned that the owls usually choose mates for life. They learned that when an owl couple is ready to start a family, the male becomes a hunter while the female builds a nest made of pellets. These pellets consist of fur and bones from previous meals that she coughs up, much the way a cat coughs up a hairball. So evidently owl pellets come out of their mouth and not their butts like I thought. I had seen pictures of owl pellets and it was like a fur ball with bones in it, and I thought it pooped it out. But that book just says they cough them up. So they don't poop them out, they cough them up. So what do they poop out? That's a mystery. All right, we got another page and we're almost done. One more page here. 2 weeks after Molly and McGee's arrival, the Royals decided to share the barn owls with Carlos's 94-year-old mother, who lived far away. They asked their grandson Austin if there was a way to put live video of the owls on the internet for great-grandma Royal to watch. Sure, he told them, but first they would need... I think there was poop or something on there. Owl poop. But first they would need a different camera, some special equipment, and 150 feet of computer cable to reach the far end of their yard. And one big problem had to be solved. Molly rarely left the box. How could they put the new camera in place without scaring her away? How could they do that? How would you put a camera inside a box that has an owl living in it without scaring the owl? Because if you move in there and start doing stuff, the owl might take off and your camera's moot. Here we are. Let's find out. Every night, as soon as the sky turned black, Molly flew outside to stretch her wings. Carlos began to time Molly, discovering that each of these flyabouts lasted about 2 minutes. Not much time to install 2 new cameras, one night vision, the other color for daytime viewing, and a microphone. For many days, Carlos practiced on a model of the owl box he had built in his workshop, until he could get the job done in a minute and a half. He was ready. Carlos watched through binoculars until Molly flew away. The race was on. He ran with the ladder to the box, quickly climbed up, drilled 2 holes for the camera lenses, and carefully set them in place. He covered the cameras with a small, weatherproof wooden box, screwed that into place, and hurried down the ladder with seconds to spare and a grin on his face. It was like an impossible mission. What? There's no end? We're at the end of the thing and there's no... What? Story this way. What the... Where is... It says story this way. Because we're back at Little Blue. And Now we got to find out where the heck the rest of the story went. The story this way. I'm looking to see what the signs say. You cannot leave with us. They hooked up the camera. Story time stroll begins here. So the story starts there, comes this way, and I don't see any more posters. Let's see if there's more. Because I can't just leave, my plan was to walk back, get into the van, and leave and end the broadcast. But evidently, there's arrows. Have you ever gone on a you started? Oh, wait! I skipped some. There's some more here, so I have to make sure I didn't miss any pages. Yeah, there's quite a few more. Let's take a look. We were supposed to hop the fence. There's a story this way. I should have said hop the fence. I was like, what the? Okay. This might get a little harder to read here, but it says, back inside the house, Carlos turned on his computer and saw the inside of the owl box clearly through the lens of the new night vision camera. He could even hear the sounds of the wind with the microphone. Molly flew back into the box and settled in a corner, seemingly unaware of the change. Carlos sent an email to Great Grandma Royale with the computer link he called the Owl Box that showed the video of Molly and McGee. He also shared the link with the rest of the Royals family and friends, who sent it to their family and friends, who sent it to their family and friends from California to New York to England to France to Afghanistan to Egypt to Japan to Hawaii to Canada. Molly and the McGees were around the world. I'm beginning to think this is a true story. Some pictures of the owls. Okay, let's take a look here. Molly was just a common barn owl when she laid her first eggs in the middle of February. But 3 days later, when she had her second egg, hundreds of the Royals' friends and families were watching on their computers. By the time Molly had laid 6 eggs in 12 days, thousands of people from 20 countries were talking in computer chat rooms about Molly and McGee, wondering what would happen to the eggs. Would they all hatch? Would they all grow up to fledge, leave the nest? Not all the eggs were expected to hatch, and not all of the owlets that did hatch were expected to survive to adulthood. By March, millions of people from 30 countries were following Molly, watching and waiting. And a month after Molly had laid her first eggs, she pushed one aside from the others and stopped sitting on it. Perhaps it had cracked. Perhaps there was no movement or other signs of life within. Or perhaps her instincts told her 6 were simply too many. Whatever the reason, she did that owls often do and ate the egg, removing any smell that might attract predators such as raccoons or opossums. A cloud of sadness hung over the chat rooms until Carlos announced, "I'm not an owl expert, but Molly did what she had to do. We're watching the cycles of life." When I was when I was teaching those kids in first grade, we would hatch these butterflies called lady butterflies, and painted ladies. They were painted ladies. And one of the caterpillars was abnormal. He was bigger. He was way bigger than the others, and his head looked deformed. 'em. And all the other caterpillars made the cocoons while they were trying to change, and his brothers and sisters, except he didn't. He kept staying behind. So one by one, the others became cocoons, and then this one big one, guess what he started to do? He started to eat the other cocoons. Yeah. So I'm in my first grade class, and these are our class pets that we're raising because we're watching the life cycle of a butterfly. So this one deformed one that was like giant size started eating his brothers and sisters. What would you do? Let's continue with the story. In the third week of March, Molly stood up to inspect one of the eggs beneath her. A tiny beak had poked through. An owlet was beginning to hatch. Just before noon, a pudgy pink featherless owlet pushed its way through the broken shell and out into the world. The Royals named him Max, after Carlos's best friend. Immediately, Molly began to clean her baby with her beak, keeping him warm by snuggling him beneath her fluffy down. At dusk, Molly called out to McGee. When he flew in carrying a mouse, she stood up for a moment to show him Max. McGee dipped his head, but before he could get beak to beak with the owlet, Molly sat back down and hid him from sight. She swallowed the mouse and screeched at McGee, a reminder of his role as father to hunt. McGee immediately flew back out the door. 2 more owlets hatched over the next 4 days. Pattison was named after Pattison Elementary in Milford, Ohio, the first of many schools to follow the owls on the internet. And Austin was named after the Royals' grandson. By the time the youngest owlet, Wesley, after the Royals' son, hatched, the barn owl family had become famous. The 5th egg, which never hatched, was named Dudley and remained in the nest uneaten. By the end of March, more than 10 million people in 40 countries had viewed the owls live in their computer, and the mayor of San Marcos had declared March 25th Molly and McGee Day. We're going on a much longer walk than I had wanted to go on. But once you start some journeys, you gotta follow it through to the end. We're gonna get to the end. Oh my God, I think it takes me across the field to the neighborhood. They were on television news shows and in newspapers held by reporters across the globe as the most famous barn owls in the world. But the fame meant nothing to Molly and McGee. Their only goal in life was to protect and feed their young so that they would grow up and have families of their own. Their mission as wild owls was to survive. Here are the owls and their families. And another indicator arrow. You can see that we're actually in the middle of a housing area here. There's a big field that they have. By day, McGee slept hidden among the friends of Fan Palm in the yard next to the Royals' house. He woke at sunset to hunt nonstop until sunrise, ranging miles beyond the neighborhood gardens that had at first provided enough gophers, rats, mice, and rabbits to feed his family. As the animals grew scarce or got wise in one hunting ground, McGee moved on. He flew east to the brush-covered hills, or south to the golf courses, or west to a stand of sycamore trees with an adjacent meadow. The perfect predator, silent and patient, McGee could hear a rabbit's heartbeat or a mouse in its burrow a foot underground. He has light-sensitive eyes and clearly eyes which see clearly in complete darkness. Satellite dish-like face channel the slightest sounds to super-sensitive ears. He has powerful knife-like talons that grasp prey, and wings and feathers designed for silent flight. I don't see anymore. Unless it's that white. You know what? I don't think I want to walk all of this side. I'm sorry. I know I said I would complete the journey, but you know what? It could end up taking me all the way down Merritt Island. I thought it was going to end at the end of the walk, and it seems like it's just going on and on and on. You know what? I bet you if you wanted to hear the rest of the story, I'm looking here and I see, I don't know, there's no signs here, which would mean exploring through all the parks, going all around that way, going to the pavilion over there. I see another sign there. And I don't know if those tags there are the book. I'm going to jump because I don't want to do all that walking. I'm a little bit pudgy, you know. So I wasn't planning on making this big long ass journey to follow the owls. But you could probably find a story on the internet and probably archive videos of the whole process. Apparently this was a big thing. This was an internet sensation. I'm looking here to see if these are the books, because there's a white sign with it looks like a white arrow pointing this way. I've never even been on this field before, but it's a football soccer field that the locals use. There's houses all along here. We are on a big long walk. Yeah, this is still parts of the book, and it's just got pictures of the owls. So more of the story. Holy schmoly, the story goes on and on and on and on and on and on. I thought it was going to be a short little kid's book. When Max and Patterson began to hunt on their own, the following week, the millions of people who had united around the world to watch the barn owls realized that the story was coming to an end. For many, it was a bittersweet time. The owls had become like family, and their fans weren't quite ready to nudge them out of the box and into the great unknown. The fans of the barn owls honored Molly and McGee and the Owlets by creating websites. You want to look up Molly, McGee, the Owls? Creating websites, comic drawings, paintings, poems, limericks, and songs. A fourth grade teacher from the Mead Schools in Stamford, Connecticut, wrote a song and performed it with her class live on the internet as a thank you to the Royals for bringing the owls into their lives. So these are famous. You know, sometimes you don't even know. You just accidentally bump into something famous. I think this is the song. Oh, Molly was a common barn owl, as common as she could be. She brought the world together through modern technology. Her owlets made us laugh and cry and turned lives upside down. But the lessons that we surely learned was to care about the world around. Molly, Molly, we watch you from afar. Molly, Molly, how beautiful you are. Molly, I can't read all that. I can't sing it. Here's the words if you want to see it and sing it yourself. Or maybe you can find that video of that teacher performing it live, you know. But I'm sure they would have recorded it. And so it was, in the same order in which they had hatched, that Max, Patterson, Austin, and Wesley left the safety of the owl box. And with shaky wings, we ventured into the dark each night over the next week. They left the box, becoming stronger and more confident until they were playfully exploring the sky together, above the yard, and then beyond. Oh, excuse me. And I think that's the end. So, maybe not. There's more pages. This is the book that never ends. Yeah, this is the book that never ends. One by one, the young owls began to... I'm not even going to read it anymore. I can't do it. This story goes on and on and on. It's still going on. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to read this whole book. And I guess that's a new house they built, or the same one. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could find this book yourself and read it. About Molly McGee and the Owlet 4. Maybe this has more information. common barn owls, blah, 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 blah. This is just information about barn owls. So you want to look up the royals and their owls if you really want to learn more. And of course, this was a real book that they laminated. They ripped apart and laminated to share with you and me. I didn't realize it was this big a book and this long. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's like, what the? So we took and I guess here are the picture of the people. These are the people, the royals. Left to right, Christopher, Adam, Donna, and Carlos Royal, and Eric. Is it Blame with the owl box in the background? That's the real ones, the real people, the stories. So you can Google that stuff. That story time stroll begins at Nature Center. So this was evidently a very long walk. I wonder if it was intended for grown-ups or kids, but I would tell you this, that was a long-ass walk. A lot longer than I wanted to go on. So anyhow, back to what would you do, okay? So you have a psychopath, deformed caterpillar eating his brothers and sisters, and you're a first grade teacher, and you guys have been watching this. Well, what happened was the brothers and sisters all went into cocoons and started to transform. And the big one with the deformed head and a huge body, it was like twice as big as everybody else because he kept eating and eating and eating. He wouldn't stop eating and he wouldn't make a cocoon. He got so big his head was falling off. Well, the kids and I, we knew something was wrong. We knew that particular caterpillar was abnormal. He didn't follow the schedule of the others. He wasn't behaving like the others. So we felt that there was something wrong with him. I don't know if it was wrong, but he was different. And we knew there was something wrong when he started eating his brothers and sisters. So what did we do? Well, I'm going to tell you what we ended up doing in real life. Camera up here. My students pointed out, because we had them in their little cage, their little box, the butterfly box, so you could look inside and see them and what they were doing. They pointed out this boar. We had named each of them. I don't even remember his name. The Rufus is eating everybody. He's eating up his brothers and sisters, Mr. DeBoer. Remember, these are first graders. They're all about 6 or 7 years old. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a cannibal. So I took the opportunity as a teaching moment to explain to them that there was something wrong with that caterpillar. Something was wrong with his brain, his development. He wasn't normal. And in society, in human society, he would get locked up for eating his own kind. We call that cannibalism. Yeah, so my first grade class was taught cannibalism. So, I had to explain to them and say it's not acceptable for him to do that. And in society, the police would have come over and taken him away. And he probably would have been locked up or even executed, depending on where he was from. But in nature, okay, because that's what we were doing for science class, we were observing and seeing the butterflies, their life cycle, what it's like to be a painted lady butterfly. We were going to let it play out, which is how I normally do, like you saw me with the hawk that was eating the seagull. Remember the hawk that ate that seagull? I saw it happen. I got a little pissed off at the lady for interfering. Typically, if it's like nature, if it's out in the wild or something like that, I let it happen. If it was somebody's pet, I would jump in and save the pet. But if it's a wild animal, I would let the other wild animal eat it. Well, that's kind of what we did with the butterfly. So we had to talk a little bit about philosophy and why we do what we do. And I said, you know, even though those painted ladies were kind of like class pets, they weren't really pets. We were using them as a science experiment, and we're going to release them all. And we were studying what happens with life and death. You know, we get to talk about death. Butterflies don't live very long. I think they only live a couple weeks. We talked about it and voted. I actually let the students vote. I told them my thoughts on it. And I said, you know, we can either terminate this abnormal caterpillar. Mr. DeBoer will do something bad to him. Or we can let him be and let God decide. So the students voted on it and almost unanimously voted to let him live, even though he obviously had some kind of serious psychological issues. He was eating the other ones. So we left him be, and he continued to eat another one. So he killed two other butterflies. He started to eat one, then he stopped. Halfway through eating it, he stopped. He was so huge at this point. He was like almost 2.5 times as large as a normal caterpillar. He was huge, and his head was all lopsided and falling off. Then he started to spin his cocoon. And he wrapped himself in a giant cocoon. Well, I don't know if it was a cocoon. No, it's not a cocoon. It's a, what's it called? A pulp something. Cocoon is what a moth does. A butterfly is called a pulp something. I forget the actual word. But it's P something, pulp something. Populus or something, I don't know. But that's what he made for himself, which crystallizes and becomes clear. But anyhow, he was about 3 or 4 days behind his siblings. The other ones that survived, and there was about 6 or 7 of them, we took them out as they hatched. They didn't all hatch at the same time, but they hatched within 1 or 2 days of each other. And as they hatched, we got to watch them crawl out of their pupa thingy, you know. And then they would actually hang upside down. They would hang upside down and start to flex their wings to pump blood and chemicals, you know, fluid that was in their body. Because they come out all fat. And they would pump all that stuff into the wings, and the wings would form, you know, into shapes of wings and harden. So we got to see how they come out. They're fat and slimy, and they pump all that stuff into the wings, and they become butterflies, and their body is a skinny little skinny body. And then they're hungry. So they have that little twisted mouth. You know, they have that little mouth. I think we're losing connection here, but basically they have the mouth with the long straw-like connection. And we got to watch them all fly away. One of them even flew on one of my students to say farewell before it left. So, you know, we opened the butterfly box and let them fly. And they all flew away. So every single one hatched, except for one big fat one, which was Doofus or Scoofus or whatever his name was that we named him, the one that ate everybody else. I think we might even named him Hannibal. Hannibal! So anyhow, let's call him Hannibal. So anyhow, Hannibal was still in his pupa thingy, and he did actually hatch, but he was like 5 days behind everybody, 5 or 6 days, and he was stinking. He was like stinking bad because he was like taking so long. So he hatched open, and guess what we saw? He came out, and he was humongously deformed looking. He was fat, and one wing was larger than the other wing, and it was all bent in weird shape. So he did form into a butterfly, but he wasn't symmetrical. He was lopsided. One side was severely distorted. It was like big and all weird shaped, and the other wing was tiny. And his mouth, you know, the little twirly beak thingy, was longer than normal. And we all looked at him, of course, because this is science from first grade. So we were all watching him saying, I don't think he's going to survive. So we were all watching him, and then we had a discussion about what was going to happen to him. Because we looked at him and we're like, I don't think he's going to make it. We were all thinking that, you know, all the kids. And then we voted what to do. Again, we always voted. We're like, well, we saw it to the end, and he is hatched, and he hung upside down, and he started pumping his fluids and blood into the wings. That's how we saw that they were deformed and not correct. And we let him, you know, heal up and dry up, and then we let him fly. Believe it or not, he flew, sort of. He flew kind of, you know, butterflies kind of flutter. He kind of spiraled fly. He would sort of fly and sort of spiral. It wasn't a pretty flight, but he flew, sort of. I mean, he could fly, he just couldn't fly straight. And he couldn't even flutter, he kind of spiraled, spun when he flew, because one wing was bigger than the other. And then we're looking at him, and then, you know, we're like, oh, we don't think he's going to make it. But guess what we did as a group? We voted to let him be. And he flew and sort of went into the bushes, and we all turned around and let him eat it. And I don't know what happened next, but I suspect he became food for a lizard or something. But it was also interesting because when we were releasing the butterflies, we got to see, you know, what really happens to animals in the wild, life and death and situations that occur. Because, you know, all of the butterflies, they got names and stuff. The kids named them, and some of the kids became attached to them, and they became like kind of like pets almost. And what happened was, one of the butterflies, as soon as he hatched and started to fly up, you know, we're all clapping and we're all happy because the butterflies are all like grown up and they're going to be free. They're going to begin their life. One of them flew up out of the box, and I kid you not, as soon as he flew up out of the box and about 4 feet into the air, a bird swooped down and grabbed him by the beak. He flew right into the bird's beak. And remember, I'm out there with first graders, and we're all watching this. And of course, we were like, well, we get to see what happens to some of the butterflies. Some of them don't even make it. They don't last very long. So, you know, of course, the kids kind of cried. You know, it's they were kind of like class pets, sort of. But we saw what happens, and that's life. Sometimes, you know, everything seems normal, everything seems right. You survive your cannibalistic brother trying to eat you while you were a baby, and you hatch and you get your wings flexed and ready to fly, and you look great, and your flight is perfect. And as soon as you take off, this bird of prey decides to swoop down and eat you. End of story. And that's what happens in life. With that said, I am going to go ahead and end it right now. I'm going to end our broadcast. I am on a nice little scenic ride, but I think we've kind of broadcast long enough. How long can this broadcast go? So anyhow, we're going to go ahead and end it right now. It is a very scenic ride, but I am going to go ahead and shut it off and just enjoy the rest of my time going on a scenic ride. So until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you. Avoid cannibalistic butterflies. Bye-bye now.